I am here at the Season of the Force kickoff event, and I would love to hear all about the High Republic books we have in front of us, including the new one. So could you tell me each who you are? And
my name is Charles Soule. I'm one of the High Republic authors. I've written the first novel in the High Republic, Light of the Jedi, back in 2021.
which I really enjoyed.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to hear it. I liked it too. And then I have Trials of the Jedi coming in June, which is the final novel, which will wrap the whole saga up we've been working on for years and years. So, and to my left.
Hi, I'm Cavan Scott. I've been working on the High Republic since the beginning. Novels, audios, animated episodes, and lots of comics, mainly the Marvel run, which is the final run's happening right now, Fear of the Jedi's. Very near the end.
I'm George Mann. I joined a little bit later than these guys, but I've been working through the various different phases, writing lots of different books and comics and audiobooks.
And you have a new book out soon, right?
Yeah.
Or is it out?
It's out. Tears of the Nameless. Yeah.
Tears of the Nameless. Tell us about it.
It's quite a dark book. It's kind of the dark night of the soul before before the end. So it's kind of a couple of the Jedi. The younger Jedi, Reith and Amadeo, going on a mission to try and figure out what's really going on and how they're going to work out how to stop the Nameless and the Blight and facing up to kind of the darkness that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Just to briefly, for those at home who don't really know how the High Republic works, the High Republic has many books and stories and comics and audio dramas within it, each of which stand on their own. You can pick up any one of them and read a great story from start to finish. But together, they make up like a multi-chapter, multi-year story that's just enormous. It's like the Star Wars saga itself. All the stories you've read, all these different pieces fit into the bigger history. And so we, 5 or 6 years ago, set out to build a very deeply interconnected set of stories that would tell one large story, while also making sure that every book within it was incredibly cool and awesome on its own. So every comic, every audio thing, every novel, they're all amazing. So Tears of the Nameless is George's latest one, but you could pick up any of them and have an amazing time.
Well, and one of the things I really appreciated with them too is you have different authors doing different books.
Yeah.
And so they each have a slight different perspective and voice that's coming out of them. Could you talk a little bit about what that's like to create a bigger picture story that interlink, but also being true to yourself as an author?
It's really exciting, and to be honest, I mean, when we started with the original 5 and then it's grown to the wider group, we've all learned from each other as well, because each person came with their own background, their own style, their own talents and strengths, and so it's been great. And some of the best moments have been when we've had to come together and have strenuous conversations sometimes about things, but out of those conversations, the most exciting ideas have happened, and it's a proper team. We've become a family of writers, and writing, you're on your own so often. So to do something like this has been spectacular.
And there's loads of room for creativity within the framework that we've built. There's kind of fixed points in the storytelling that we know we have to hit, but we don't necessarily kind of dictate to people how they have to get the characters to that point. So you can kind of bring yourself to those books that you're writing, and like Charles said, you're aiming to tell a great story within the framework of that one book that people can pick up and read, and you're getting to a point where you're handing off the characters to the next person in the line who's going to then pick up those characters and tell the rest of the story. So it's been a great experience, a really collaborative experience.
And it's also the added group member, the fifth Beatle. It's the fans that have been reading it, because their response is shaped as well some of the stories. We've got a character, Lourna Dee, who Charles introduced in the first novel, in Light of the Jedi, and she's really grown on her own, and I've had the pleasure of writing her in the last couple of years, and the response from the fans has been amazing. And so when you start seeing that, how fans are responding to a character, it does inspire you as well, and it gets you excited and think, well, what else can we do? So as George said, we've given ourselves the freedom to let it grow beyond our original plans as well.
So when you come up with a new character, is that the individual author? Is it someone from Lucasfilms that says, hey, we'd like this? Is it kind of a...
All of the above.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, we will hear from Lucasfilm talking about ways that we might connect the High Republic with elements of larger storytelling.
Sure.
For example, those High Republic books that intersect with that too, where we are standing right now, in Galaxy's Edge. But it's always about thinking about the way that the story we tell is part of the larger, gigantic Star Wars story. But also, again, everything is very, like, the emotional beats have to stand and work on their own. The characters have to live and breathe on their own. And it's been really spectacular because, we've gotten to steer essentially a Star Wars trilogy. I mean, even more, but like a huge Star Wars saga within the publishing world and things like the Acolyte and video games and Young Jedi Adventures that we just kind of made up one day. It's really a spectacular feeling because we've all loved Star Wars since we're really little.
Since we're
I'm
kids.
sure most of the people watching this have too, and to be able to contribute to it so meaningfully is astonishing.
Yeah.
Astonishing.
Yeah.
That is very cool. Getting started, was that overwhelming, exciting, exhilarating,
Yes.
terrifying, everything you
All
can
of the
imagine?
above. Yeah, I mean, it was the original 5 of us were sitting in Skywalker Ranch going, how have we got into Skywalker Ranch? It was like, it was incredible.
They must have made a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. But that environment, I mean, that place is created to create. And so that was the beginning of all. But again, then when new people came in, it just all got bigger. Everything got bigger, everything got more excited. So it's been phenomenal. And there was still a part of me going, well, I'm just a little 10-year-old kid from the UK. What am I doing here? But that feeds into it because, these characters matter to us and they matter to other people, and it all goes from that point.
That actually is a point I would make, which is that the thing that feels different now versus the beginning is that at the beginning we were, working in a vacuum, right? We were creating this thing that we were very proud of, but we didn't know if it was going to work, how it was going to end, whatever. But now, with these last stories, which we're in, as we speak to you, we're in the last wave of stories coming out. Between now and June, the last things will happen. And we're writing this and putting these things out in a world where the High Republic is extremely well known and well loved, and characters, like, people have expectations for how those characters are going to be handled or treated. And we have all of that in our heads because we're paying attention, but we also know that we need to do the things with and to and for those characters that are the best for the story. So the nerves that I feel with Trials of the Jedi coming out in June, they're very different than the nerves I felt with Light of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Because now people already know what we're doing, and they want the endings they want. But I think we did a great job. I think everybody really did, and I think it's going to land really well.
And it's only the beginning in a lot of ways.
That's awesome. Okay, final question. First Star Wars memory for each of you.
Mine was reading the Marvel comics and a green rabbit turning up, and my life was never the same again.
Love it.
Mine was being in the cinema with my grandfather at the age of 4, watching Empire Strikes Back and seeing AT-ATs go on screen, and that was it. That was it.
Yeah, mine was also Empire Strikes Back in the theater. The moment when you first see the AT-ATs kind of through the macro binoculars kind of looming in out of the snow, you're like, it's going to be trouble. And it was trouble. It sure was.
Love it.
Still is to this day.
Yeah, still is.
Thank goodness. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you.